Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another meeting of the MCAT Club. This is our weekly call for Monday, November the 11th, 2013. It's Veterans Day, so I encourage you to take a moment and show some respect, show some compassion, perhaps some thanks to a veteran or someone who knows a veteran in your life. My name is Don Osborne. I am from a company called Inquarta. I am a medical school admissions expert / consultant / coach. What I do is I work with college students and non-traditional premeds who really, like no kidding, really want to get into medical school, but maybe stuck or have some feelings of uncertainty about parts of their application profile and would very much like to get some helpful advice from someone with a wide range of experience in medical school admissions, and that's me. Joining me tonight on this call is none other than Dr. Elaine Ferguson. Dr. Ferguson is a graduate of Brown University, and she earned her medical degree at Duke University School of Medicine. She is Senior Medical Director for the U.S. Postal Service in the Great Lakes area and has appeared on numerous radio programs, TV shows, including a spot on Lifetime television. It is a great honor and privilege to welcome Dr. Elaine Ferguson. Hi, Elaine.
Hi, John. Thank you for having me.
So let's see. I've known you for how long? Something like 6 years, maybe?
Yeah, it's been quite a while.
As a personal friend and colleague, and you've mentored me, and we've had conversations where we're going through the stuff and the tough times of life. So I know a little bit about your history, and based upon your academic background, it seems to me that you should be what I would call a hardline evidence-based physician. But you recently wrote a book on holistic medicine. What's that called?
The book is entitled Superhealing, Engaging Your Mind, Body, and Spirit to Create Optimal Health and Well-Being. Okay,
so I am a little blown away. How could you tell me a little bit about your journey through Western medicine and how that turned into this book and your experience of holistic medicine?
Sure. Well, this is my second book. The first one I wrote 20 years ago, which was entitled Healing, Health, and Transformation, New Frontiers in Medicine. And, Don, I will give you the bullet points to make a very long story short about how I went from traditional medicine to more holistic and open-minded approach. But basically, I always wanted to be a physician. I decided when I was 10 years of age that I wanted to be a doctor, and I primarily believed, based on my limited exposure to physicians, that doctors were very proactive related to the health of their patients. I didn't know that doctors were totally focused on disease management and treatment. I thought it was more encompassing than that. So when I got to medical school at Duke, I kept waiting for the health class to help happen. I did. I'm learning about anatomy and physiology. Physiology deals with the normal functioning of the body, but most of what I learned in medical school was very disease-based. Mm-hmm. And in addition to that, not only was it disease-based, but it was very rigid in its approach to patients, which I didn't like at all. And I always got in trouble because we were taught to be very distant and objective, which meant to me to be impersonal and non-caring. And that is just not my makeup, as you probably know. So
I do indeed.
So I just
felt
very well. Thank you. I felt that the human aspect, human qualities are very important in our daily lives and our relationships. So when people are ill, why should we treat them like objects? Why aren't we being compassionate and kind and considerate towards them? I thought that was just kind of stupid. So,
well, I think you're in very, very good company, right? We talked already about Dr. Bernard Lauer and his book and how he talks about using patient understanding of their own well-being as a tool in the healing process, and we're talking about people with very advanced heart disease.
It's very important to include the human aspect in medicine, and fortunately I think that is changing, but we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
So long story short, after I completed my residency and I went into practice, I immediately realized that, oh my God, I can't do this for the rest of my life. I will go crazy. And by that I mean I could not.
Do what for the rest of your life?
I can't practice medicine the way I was taught, to the extent that I would only focus on recommending surgery or giving or prescribing drugs. I knew that there had to be a lot more to health than that. I became a vegetarian just by happenstance when I was in medical school, so I knew that eating differently had made a difference in my life. So I initially just started looking into nutritional approaches, and this was quite some time ago. This was back in the 80s, and the world has changed dramatically since that time in terms of nutritional supplements and diet and lifestyle. And I just started making recommendations to my friends and family more than anything else. And very slowly I began to explore other avenues of healing, primarily from the Eastern traditions, acupuncture, energy medicine such as laying on of hands, spirituality, and how it's. So I came to see that the most important thing is that people recognize that their bodies have the capacity to heal. We're so disease-oriented that we don't share that with people, with our patients. We're focused on fixing something rather than enhancing or improving our health and well-being, which I think are part of the same sphere. So that's in a nutshell how I became more holistically oriented. And the good thing for me, and to specifically answer your question about how do you go from hardcore science to a more holistic approach, is that I began to discover studies in a variety of fields, from mind-body medicine, psychoneuroimmunology, psychocardiology, the work of Dr. Herbert Benson out of Harvard, who was one of the first academicians to look at the physiological changes that occur with meditation and document the health benefits. So I was just fortunate in terms of my personal needs to find the research that substantiates and supports these type of approaches. And over the last probably 20 years, since the early 90s, the research has just become voluminous. I literally, there are thousands of studies, and one of the reasons why I wrote this most recent book is that it's so frustrating when I talk to people, because they have no clue, no idea about these very significant studies that show the role of nutrition, shows the role of our spirituality, our creativity, our relationships, how our mindset, how an optimistic viewpoint really impacts our health, and in particular the role that stress plays in the development of chronic diseases. So that's how I got to where I am at this point in my life, and I don't really see a conflict anymore. I quite honestly don't.